Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast, where we hold the pencil and the pencil is power. Coming at you right now is your host, Marky Mark, along with the man, the myth, the legend, Frank Donaldson. Join us as we discuss the ever-changing landscape of professional wrestling. So hang on tight, you jabronis, and enjoy the ride.
Welcome to the Bookers Alliance podcast. We're switching things up this week. It's your boy Frank coming at you right here with our buddy Marky Mark on the side here, the Beeve himself.
What's up?
Coming at you guys. Say hi to the crowd. Say hi to the people.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining and listening to our podcast today.
Yep. That's what's up. So what we're going to do for you today is we're doing another booking episode. Those of you who listened to our episode 4 where we did the book, you know that once we get the pencil in our hands, we feel that rush of power and we have to use it or lose it. So we're going to use it again today. We got a new storyline out. We're fresh off the Royal Rumble, fresh off the Sami Zayn turn, fresh off the breakup of the Bloodline, the possible breakup of the Bloodline. So Marky Mark's going to give you his way to book this through until we get to either the dissolution of the Bloodline, maybe the reformation of the Bloodline. We're going to see where it ends up at. So Marky Mark, the pencil is in your hand.
Absolutely. So let's book this thing. So we're talking about Sami, we're talking about KO, and we're talking about the Bloodline. And of course, the Bloodline includes the tribal chief himself, the head of the table, Mr. Roman Reigns, Solo Sikoa, the Usos, and the beloved Paul Heyman. So that is the Bloodline for those who may not know. Of course, Sami, up until this past Premium Live event, he was the honorary Us. And so it seems to be that he has turned his back on the Bloodline with the chair shot heard around the world in him spinning around and clocking Roman in the back with the chair. Obviously, that sent the Bloodline into a disarray, had us all stunned. We couldn't believe what we were seeing, but ultimately we knew at that moment Sami was going to get a beat down. Frank, what you think?
Oh, you definitely, I mean, you could see it coming a mile away when Sami started looking real distraught with the beat down that the Bloodline was given to Kevin KO. They were giving him the beat down, and Sami was just looking so torn, like he just didn't know. And Roman had told him going into the pay-per-view that it was going to be his. He had to prove himself the final time, otherwise he was going to be out of the Bloodline. He offered up the chair to KO, told him, finish him. They had him cuffed to the top ropes, told him to finish him, and Sami couldn't do it. And those of you who saw the Premium Live event, you know how it went from there.
Yeah, so ultimately, at the end of the day, Sami was laid to waste by the Bloodline. However, there were some interesting things that came out of that. You had Paul over in the corner going, no, as only Paul Heyman could do. You had Solo as the enforcer. Obviously, he was going to take care of business. But you had Jay standing over in the corner, shook. He kept asking Sami, why? Yep. Why now? Why? And then when Roman looked at Jay and issued the command to commence beating down Sami, Jay had to run out. Jay couldn't take it.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about this and where we could see this going. And so that was the fallout of them. But obviously there's another player that is going to be in this booking storyline, and that is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, the winner of the 23 Royal Rumble.
Uh-oh. Getting thick in here.
Getting thick. So obviously now we are faced with a dilemma. We have two hot white meat baby faces with Cody and Sami, and they have the same adversary as in Roman. Cody not as thick yet. He's wanting the belt.
Oh God! Here we go with this.
I'm sorry, Vince. Don't fire me, Vince. I'm trying.
You're fired.
I'm trying, Vince. I promise. He's wanting that championship. So obviously, we got Sami trying to set things right. You got Cody running for the championship. So how do we get out of this? Because something that could be looming is, how does the WWE Universe handle two hot white meat baby faces going after the same adversary? Well, so we know Cody has declared, obviously, he's going to be going up against Roman. And, Cody even kind of alluded to that on Monday Night Raw. This is the battle of the royal families, if you will. So, Frank, what's your thoughts on that?
Well, that's what Cody's song starts off with. There's more than one royal family in wrestling. Well, there's more than two royal families in wrestling, too, because as we know, he was referring originally to the McMahon family, but now the NOI family is standing in his way and blocking his path to greatness. We saw Cody posted on social media this week. He posted a picture of the Winged Eagle belt. Didn't have any captions, didn't have any comments with it. He just posted a picture of that belt. We know that's one of my favorite belts. That's another episode, though. episode to follow about belts. But yeah, that one is one of my favorite championship designs. Cody posted it, so be interested where he goes with that. But I'm more interested in finding out how you're going to get us there right now. So you tell us how you're going to get us there today.
All right. So if that's going to be our WrestleMania match, we're still on the road to WrestleMania.
The roads to WrestleMania.
The roads to
WrestleMania. Trademark.
So if Sami is going to get his just dues against Roman and the Bloodline for what just happened, we have to get a payoff somewhere between Sami and Roman. It has to pay off. So I am booking that this match pays off at the Elimination Chamber. You wind up getting a Sami versus Roman match. And in that match, we could potentially see Sami building it up on the cusp of getting the win over Roman. And then you get that count. The 1, 2, KO pulls the ref out of the ring.
KO pulls the ref out of the ring?
KO pulls the ref out of the ring.
Well, that would screw Sami over, though. Sami's his boy. Where are you going with this here?
So I'm thinking that we're going to see KO screw Sami over, hand Roman the win. And then this would allow KO to continue that jealousy arc that has been drenched within the WWE ever since NXT. The friend versus friend, that jealousy about Sami got hot, KO wanted the attention, and that arc between him and Sami could rekindle, and that volatility of their relationship could build.
Wow, you're going to have to give me a minute to pick my jaw up off the floor here now. Wow, I had not thought of anything in the vicinity of that range. Wow.
And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of it, because ultimately at the end of the day, everybody has seen KO looking at Sami going, they're using you. They're using you. You don't see it. What we're not seeing is KO manipulating Sami. And I think we've all seen the spin where Roman is manipulating Sami, but we're not seeing the KO. And if anybody can manipulate Sami, who better than his longtime friend who knows him better than anybody else?
Well, that is true. That is true. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, I hadn't traveled down that road yet. So yeah, I'm definitely interested to hear more. Give us more. So
at that point, KO would then assume the role of the honorary Uce.
Oh wow! I don't know if Sami's honorary Uce sort of fit KO, but I guess they could get another one.
We could get another show.
Okay. So let me make sure I'm catching up here. Just to make sure everybody's on the same page. So Sami's out. We already know that. Those of us who saw the live event, we know that. And you're saying KO's in by screwing over Sami against Roman, which keeps Roman hot going into WrestleMania, and kind of pits KO and Sami against each other again.
Yep.
All righty then. Yep. I am here for this. So yeah, give us more.
So with KO becoming the honorary Uce, it also starts back up the storyline with Jey Uso, looking at KO and revisiting that whole not trusting the outsider coming into the family. I don't think that Jay is going to be allowed to totally pull away, even though, he's posted on his social media that he's out. And he wants apparently to run that match back between him and Roman. That's what he's already requested. But I don't think it's going to be that easy for him. I don't think he's going to get that request just yet because Roman's going to ignore him. Roman's going to see, hey, you walked out on us.
Yeah.
He's going to ignore him. So,
and Jay's probably going to have a path to get to Roman anyway. I mean, you've got Solo standing in the way, the inevitable Uso versus Uso match. I mean, who doesn't want to see Jay versus Jimmy? Come on now. I mean, that you just start printing the money on that. That kind of writes itself. He's got stages to get through to get to Roman. You don't just wake up in the morning and get to Roman. So, if Jay
levels.
Jay saying he wants Roman is great. I mean, hell, I want $1 million, but that $1 million ain't coming without a lot of work. So, Jay's going to have to put that work in to get to Roman. I'm all for that.
Yeah, so you got levels there that he's going to have to work through. Not to mention the ace up Roman's sleeve, if you will, the wise man. The wise man's not going to let Jay get Roman there.
No, absolutely not.
So he's going to make him pay for that. And in his advisement, Roman may not be all for KO coming in, but maybe the wise man sees something in KO that we're not seeing yet. So maybe that's how he kind of gets into the fold and gets good with Roman.
Yeah, if KO helps him out in one of those matches, that'll definitely make Paul look at him in a different light. That's for sure.
Yeah. So with that being said, that's ultimately how you split Sami away from the Cody Roman picture, because you're giving Sami another focus. You're giving him the ability to focus on KO portraying the heel, Sami still the hot baby face. So that kind of gives them a chance to rekindle their feud, and then they can both together have their WrestleMania moment. We've seen them fight all over the place. We've seen them in all sorts of stipulations. We've seen them go against each other in some very heated situations, but we've never seen Sami and KO at WrestleMania.
We've seen Sami and KO at WrestleMania a couple of years ago.
Not like this.
Definitely not like this.
Not this.
That was more of a, you screw over all your friends type deal. Right. This way is a completely different way because Sami was all in on family. He gave up his Bloodline association to rescue KO, then for KO to turn around and stab him in the back and join the group that he was with. Yeah, no, that's some creative stuff that'll take away any afterthought of that previous match, and it'll put all the focus on this match. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I do got a question, though. Now,
okay.
Where do the tag belts factor in this? So we're looking for a good way to get the tag belts split. We're looking for a great way to put them on their own show. But how are we going to get them to get those two belts either split and on other teams, or what are the Usos going to do with those belts here? Give me something on that now, because we can't have those belts just floating around out there.
You do have a tag team contenders match going on.
We got two on it. We've got one for the red brand and one for the blue brand. So, look at that.
Interesting.
Yeah, now the belts are, what if the Usos just aren't going to team anymore? Maybe the belts just get held up, and then all of a sudden this tournament turns into a tournament for the belts.
What if they feel like they've got everything worked out? They get to the ring to defend the championships, and Jay walks off on Jimmy. It turns into a handicap match.
Yeah, that could be. Or what if Roman tells Jimmy to walk off on Jay to take that beat down out there from whoever the team is? Man, there's a lot of what ifs going on here.
Juicy stuff going on.
Well, see, and let's be honest, wrestler fans out there, this is what happens when there's good booking, good storytelling, this is quote unquote good sports entertainment here, because the underlying story is what's got us hooked in here. That's what's prompting us to book. That's what's prompting all these crazy questions about what if.
Right.
3 years ago, there was a what if in the WWE.
No.
You knew everything that was going to happen 6 to 8 months ahead of time, and those storylines played themselves. But now, everything's in flux, and it is great. It is a great, great time to be a wrestling fan.
Beautiful time to be a wrestling fan.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Especially going into Mania season.
So now we've talked about, Sami KO feuding at Mania. But this story gives Cody an opportunity to shine against Roman. No other storyline going on at the moment, even though there might be some outside things going on. But ultimately, it gives the WWE Universe time to focus on Cody versus Roman.
Yeah.
It gives us that ability. That way nobody is jaded and goes, oh, I'd like to see Sami in that role.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get that possibly at Elimination Chamber. So we'll get our request.
So we've had that before. That becomes a problem back when Daniel Bryan was starting his run. The fans were 100% behind Daniel Bryan, but the company wanted to get behind Batista. And you know how that turned out. You know, Randy Orton was the champion. They were gearing up for a Randy Orton-Batista match, and the fans made them put Daniel Bryan in. And what WWE needs to do if they're smart is don't let the fans make them put Sami into this storyline. Let them, because this is Cody's time. I mean, this is Cody's time. That injury, derailed him a little bit, but in all, it probably worked out better for Cody to be away for that little bit of time that he was away, simply because now he gets on to his road to WrestleMania and he can get crowned at the Night of Champions. So, yeah, it's funny how things work out. But, yeah, the WWE needs to get Sami out of that storyline enough that they can get through Mania. Yeah, I'm totally with you on that.
So, talking about the match at Mania between Cody and Roman. Cody, he's a beast in the ring. He is amazing. He's energetic. He's unpredictable at times. So is that going to be enough to beat Roman? Or is Roman enough to beat Cody? We've never seen Cody versus Roman in a singles match with the championship on the line.
No, definitely not.
So does he know his adversary standing across the ring? If he does, is it the same adversary that he thinks he knows? Because honestly, that time away, Cody grew as a competitor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, we've seen this dude light himself on fire, for Christ's sake. I mean, so this dude
unadvisedly, but
this dude. Well, actually, his wife lit him on fire.
Yeah, true. Yeah. I mean, well, she's hot, so I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yes, absolutely.
So, at the end of the day, how do I see the Cody Roman match going down at Mania? Well, again, this could be one of those times where you have another outside interference.
The Rock. Can we get a Rock sighting at Mania? I mean,
if the WWE can pay that Hollywood money.
Well, I mean, they'll be in Hollywood. They don't have to fly him in or anything. Really, all he has to do is come down the road a little bit.
We could get a Rock. We definitely could get a Rock, which would definitely make things very interesting. But the way that I see this happening is the one who helps out Cody and screws over Roman is Jay. I think Jay is going to completely turn his back on Roman.
Jay Uso? Main event Jay?
Main event Jay.
Oh, my goodness.
In the main event.
The roller coasters. You were bringing me down on the roller coaster, and then now I'm all the way back up again. Oh, my goodness. I'm all over the place here.
Talk about your WrestleMania moment.
Yeah.
Jay screwing over Roman. I mean, who would think?
WrestleMania would be the time to do. I mean, the grandest stage of them all, the complete dissolving of the bloodline. Oh, wow. Yeah, the roller coaster's back up again. Keep us going. Keep us going.
So now that'll build a program out. What happens to Cody? Unsure. Don't know where that goes for Cody. Doesn't have to go anywhere really quick. Man's going to be the champion.
Well, yeah, we know after the Rumble, after the WrestleMania match, the champion kind of has his path blazed out for him, whether he wants to or not. Cody's going to go on. The night after WrestleMania, he's going to give the most emotional interview. He'll probably walk out of the curtain crying, just belt in hand, winged eagle belt in hand, tears streaming down his face. Pec torn, leg burned. I mean, Ricky Starks would be in the background with him. Ricky made a showing at the Rumble.
He was there. He got caught on CCTV.
Yeah. So all that'll be happening. Brandy will be out there. She'll announce her pregnancy that day. I mean, and the Dusty will ascend from the heavens and just drop a big elbow on somebody. I mean, all that'll happen. So what a day that'll be.
So Cody's path is kind of already set. Where that goes for him, we're unsure yet. But now, what about Jay and Roman? What happens there? Well, ladies and gentlemen, the match after WrestleMania is WrestleMania Backlash. What better way to pit Roman against Jay? WrestleMania Backlash. And obviously, Roman being the bigger, faster, stronger. He's going to take Jay to the whipping house. He's just going to beat him down one side and the other. I don't see a point where Jay would get too much of an offense in that match. What are your thoughts?
So we've seen that already. We saw that at Hell in the Cell a couple of years ago when Jay and Roman went out there and Jimmy had to plead for Jay's life because Roman was just going to kill him. He was just going to sacrifice him up to the high chief and those who ascended on before. But we saw that before. So I got a question now. We've seen this story play out a few times. Do you think Jay gets straight to Roman? I mean, I don't know if Jay can get straight into Roman. I feel like Paul would protect Roman a little bit and maybe put a few stumbling blocks in Jay's way there.
So Roman, as he has stated in the past, he's got a temper. And I think that's where he looks at the wise man and goes, know your place. And he says, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I'm going to take Jay to the whipping post.
All right. Well, so then let me ask, so where does that leave Solo? I mean, Solo's going to be the enforcer of the group. Seems like he would step up in the midst of that and kind of put, Jay back in his place and try and get him back in order. We got to have a storyline for Solo. I mean, this is Solo's time.
You got Raws and SmackDowns all the way up until WrestleMania Backlash.
Oh my goodness! So for me now, I'm not taking the pencil or anything. I'm just interjecting here an idea here. For me, I would say Jay would have to work his way up to that per se. So I would say maybe, let's say WrestleMania, Jay may fight Jimmy because we didn't give a story for Jay yet,
Right.
So maybe Jay and Jimmy at WrestleMania, right? Okay, maybe at Backlash we do the same thing. We do Jay versus Jimmy, the rematch. That kind of happens in, I don't know what, mid-May, early June, sometime in there. If you do that, then you take, then let's say Jay goes over on Jimmy twice. Well, then he's got to go through Solo. He can go through Solo in our June, July time. That could push out that Jay Roman WrestleMania Backlash match out to SummerSlam. It gives you a program for the entire summer with this Bloodline thing. I mean, you milk another 5 months out of this thing. It's as hot as it is right now. If you can get those 5 more months and run that thing out to summer, then, maybe Jay goes over on Roman in SummerSlam and then Roman goes away for a little bit, pops back up around the Survivor Series. Just a thought. Like I said, I'm not taking no booking, but again, with the angle being as hot as it is.
Don't want to see it end.
And that's the thing. It's just spurring so many creative juices. Right. I mean, there's so many people. There's so many ways you could go with it. Everything you laid out was so good. I just wanted to put that little cherry on the top of it.
Absolutely. But at the end of the night, when you look at that, when we inevitably get that Jay versus Roman match, who do we think is going to try to return the favor to Jay and save him from that Roman beatdown? I think it's Sami. I think Sami and Jay have created a bond that only brothers could have. And I think Jimmy may be getting jealous over that bond. Because Jimmy, at the end of the night, when Jay was backing out at Rumble, Jimmy was telling him, I'm your brother.
Yeah.
Not him. I'm your brother.
Yeah.
So
somehow or another, Solo forgot he was his brother too. He just kind of stood over there and playing this enforcer role.
Solo is Arn. He just stands there with his arms.
Yeah, he is. He don't have much to say. He's very soft spoken.
So everybody, that's my booking for the potential of how this plays out.
Now, wait, hold on now. We ran this out to SummerSlam. I mean, we could push this thing out here to Survivor Series now. If Sami comes out to help Jay, I mean, where does that go? Does that give are you possibly seeing a Sami and Jay tag team versus Jimmy and Solo type situation here? I mean, Solo's still the young guy. He's fresh off NXT. Tagging with his brother for a little while might really help elevate his skill set. I mean, we could push this thing out. We're rolling into November now, and this is January. So, we can make this an entire year storyline out of this. I mean, this has a lot of legs to grow on.
So we're thinking about how this could continue. Obviously, this has been one of the most impactful storylines that we've watched as wrestling fans. At the end of the night for the Rumble, we were discussing about some of the storylines that we've seen that have been at this level. We were talking about the Pillman Austin storyline. We were talking about the
Batista and Triple H.
Batista Triple H storyline.
Batista Randy Orton. You brought that up.
Yeah. So I mean, we've seen some storylines that have been incredible over the years. I believe I even mentioned in ECW the Raven Tommy Dreamer.
Yep.
So where does this stand for me as a fan with this story right now? Easily top 3 for me. This is some of the best, just Emmy-winning television that I've ever seen.
Yeah, this is some classic storytelling here. I mean, I'll even take it farther back and go back to when the Mega Powers exploded. I mean, that was a 12 to 15 month arc that they ran there. That was, I mean, for a little guy, I was 10 when that happened. I mean, so, you know, I didn't know anything about soap operas or nighttime drama TV or anything, but I just remember how compelling it was watching it. And I mean, a lot of times when I'm watching this Bloodline storyline play out, I feel like that little kid again that's just watching it like, man, I really need to see what's happening next. I can't wait to see what's happening next because it's so compelling. It's such good TV, such good storytelling that it's just, it's holding you in. It's holding that interest in, and it's making it hard to focus on anything else right now, which kind of sucks for Cody, but you know, sometimes you run up against a hot iron and, you know, your hand can't take it. So, yeah, hey, but I think Cody's doing okay for himself. But, yeah, this Bloodline thing right now, you know, anybody who touches it, it immediately turns to gold.
Right.
You know, it's making stars. It's, you know, it made Sami. It took Sami to a completely different level, farther than he ever would have achieved otherwise. It brought Solo up from NXT, immediately propelled him into a main event storyline. It's making him as a name, the street champion and all that. I mean, it's doing so much good work for so many people. It's just amazing.
So think about it this way, though. What actually main evented the Rumble? Was it the Roman KO match, or was it the 15 minutes they spent after the match on the story?
The match was filler. The match was filler. The match was a means to an end, as they call it.
Absolutely.
So the story end is what everybody was waiting with bated breath for. The match was just kind of what had to happen. Exactly.
Sheer goosebumps. I mean, just the fact that a 15-minute story segment main evented the Royal Rumble.
By far. I mean, it overshadowed everything. And if you think about it, the press conference they had after, none of those guys were out there. So, you know, there was a lot of talk about, you know, a lot of people, they celebrated all the right people for all their accomplishments from that night. But walking away from it the next day, the next night, ever since, the only thing you've been seeing on social media covering right now is that Bloodline storyline.
20 million plus views on YouTube for that segment alone in the first 24 hours.
Yeah, I mean, WWE hasn't had 20 million views for anything.
Crazy.
Anything that they've done in the last 20 years almost. But like you said, that was compelling television. It just really was. It's amazing to see it, you know, but these guys get it. The point of it is these guys get, you know, the sports entertainment aspect of wrestling. These guys get it. They're showing all those who don't get it what the entertainment value is, and they're, you know, and the views and the things like that, they're showing the payoff for it.
Yep, absolutely. All right, so that was our booking episode for, you know, how we continue the Sami, KO, and Bloodline storyline. So with that, everybody, we appreciate you listening. As always, hit us up on our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Leave us a comment, drop us a line, give us your thoughts. If you think differently, if it could go a different way, let us know. We're interested in everybody's thoughts.
Absolutely. And if you like this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends. Let them know. All your wrestling buddies out there, tell them to give us a listen. If they got different opinions, tell them to give us a comment. We're always over here waiting for comments. We got time. We got time for this today.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, everybody. And with that, we bid you adieu.
Peace.
Today's podcast was produced by SBP. You can find our podcast on all major podcast platforms. Also connect with us on our social media accounts. Search for The Bookers Alliance on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.